What crops for 10 years or more once planted suffers from almost no pests, can be turned into anything from chutneys to crumbles, and yet is refreshingly easy to grow. Why, rhubarb, of course. Hi, I'm Ben, and if you're looking to grow your own sensational rhubarb stalks, now's your chance, because here comes our planting to harvest guide. It's a very low maintenance crop, it's super hardy, and as I said, plants will go on cropping for a decade and often significantly longer. It also looks magnificent with those beautiful red stems and enormous thrusting leaves that contribute real structure and head-turning appeal to the vegetable garden. I love the stuff, and not just in desserts, but served up with meats or turned into sauces or chopped up or processed into drinks. Because rhubarb's going to be in the same piece of ground for so long, it's worth taking your time on getting the location right. Rhubarb loves a moist, well-drained soil. In other words, it needs plenty of moisture to swell those characteristically big and bold leaves, but mustn't be sat in saturated soil, which might cause it to rot. It loves sunshine, but grows very well in dappled shade too, and I reckon under this apple tree here will be just the spot for it. Proper soil preparation is the most important part of starting off your rhubarb, so be thorough. Start by removing any weeds, and that includes any weed roots of perennials. Now get on and dig the ground over and then add some organic matter. I'm using well-rotted organic manure, oh, lovely stuff. And I'm adding about a bucket load here into the area where it's going to be planted, and then I'm going to just lightly fork it in. Great stuff, now to get on and plant. Today I'm planting a container raised rhubarb, and you can plant these at any time of the year so long as the soil isn't frozen, too wet, or in the summer too dry. Autumn is actually a great time to plant because the soil still has some residual warmth from the growing season, but if it gets really cold where you are, wait till spring. Now, the variety I'm planting today is called Victoria, which was introduced in the year 1837 to celebrate the new Queen Victoria of the United Kingdom. It rapidly became the nation's favourite and later the world's favourite. It doesn't look like much now, but this will grow to have really big red stems with a kind of almost apple gooseberry-like flavour and a lovely smooth stringless texture. It's going to be just yum, and I really can't wait to try it. The first job is just to dig a hole big enough so that the soil level in the pot matches the soil level here. You don't want to cover this crown here, otherwise it might rot. That's important. Now just remove the plant from its pot, just give it a squeeze like that and tap. You see here it's got a really healthy root system, but it's quite pot bound, so just pull away at these roots here just to kind of encourage them out into the planting hole. I'm planting just one rhubarb today, but if you want to plant more, and I don't blame you, then set plants about 3 foot or 90 centimetres apart at the very least to give them room to grow, because they will need it. So in it goes. And we just feed the soil back around it, firming it in like that. And there we go, job done. You can grow rhubarb in containers too, but you'll need a big container working up to a final size of about 40 litres or 10 US gallons. If you're going to plant them into a container, use a soil-based potting mix and be sure to mix in plenty of well-rotted manure or compost. And what else? Well, not much. Be sure to remove any flower stalks that appear so that the plant concentrates its energy on producing those delicious stems. Keep plants well watered, especially in dry weather in the summer and as plants are establishing. And in the autumn, remove any yellow and dying leaves. And those can go straight onto the compost heap. And autumn is the time of year to show established plants a little love. And you guessed it, I'm talking a nutritious topping of well-rotted manure or compost. Spread out this delicious organic matter so that it doesn't cover the fat buds here. That's important, because if it's covered, they'll start rotting. This layer of organic matter will help to suppress weeds, it'll keep in soil moisture, which will be important next growing season, and as it rots down and gets taken into the soil and then up by the plant's roots, those nutrients will fuel all that vigorous growth. I planted this crown here last spring, and by this summer it had already reached near epic proportions, as you can see from this clip here. Just magnificent. And harvesting begins in earnest from the second growing season. To harvest, grab a stem by the base and tug sharply away from the crown to detach it. Only harvest a few stems at once to avoid exhausting the plant, and stop harvesting by around midsummer so the plant can recover for next year. Don't be tempted to eat the leaves because they are mildly poisonous, though it's absolutely fine to add these to the compost heap. You can enjoy a super early crop of stems by forcing plants from late winter. To do this, simply pop a forcing pot over either the buds or the first stems that are already pushing through to exclude light. This forces the stems to grow quickly upwards, giving pale, tender stems with a superior texture. Now, a traditional forcing pot is always going to look the business, but if you don't have one, don't worry. You can use a large pot with the drainage holes covered, a bucket, or a large container such as this, anything that excludes the light. Pop it over the crown of the plant, and then if it's really cold, you might want to try stuffing in some straw around the crown inside the pot as well. You'll get stems up to a whole month sooner than unforced crowns. Once they're ready, remove the pot, harvest your stems, and then don't force that crown again for at least 2 years. This is one reason why it's worth growing more than one plant, so there's always something to force and enjoy. Rhubarb can be prolific, to say the least. If you're overwhelmed, remember that rhubarb freezes really well and of course can be turned into all sorts of delicious preserves. Ravishing rhubarb. If you're sitting on the fence on this one, trust me, you need to make space for it, especially given its dramatic and show-stopping looks. Now, next week, we'll be looking at tried and trusted ways of building up your soil's health ready for next growing season. You won't want to miss it, I promise, so make sure you're subscribed and ding that old notification bell so you're notified once it's out. Please do join in the conversation down below, and for more fruit growing how-tos, check out this playlist. I'll catch you next time.